Back here, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. The Indianapolis Colts have been one of, if not the best stories this year in the NFL. A year ago, they had 2 wins. Andrew Luck was the #1 pick, and they've turned things around this year as they've already punched their ticket to the NFL playoffs entering Week 17 as they'll face the Houston Texans, but it goes much more than that. They lost their head coach, Chuck Pagano, to leukemia, and he returns actually this week to the sidelines to face those Texans. But in the interim, Bruce Arians did a phenomenal job filling in for Coach Pagano. And Coach Bruce Arians joins us right now. Coach, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
Good, Zach. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. How was your Christmas yesterday?
It was fantastic. Family got in. We got a blizzard going on today, so my daughter gets to stay for a couple extra days. So it's fun. We had a great time.
Well, that's fantastic. But Christmas for me means, some Chinese food with some sesame chicken and some 2K and some movies because I'm Jewish. But give me some memories as a child that you had for Christmas.
Oh, gosh, my favorite. I had a grandmother who just had to wake us up. She'd wake us up at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and she'd drop pots and pans or anything that she knew would wake us up. And she was a little bigger kid than we were to open the presents and eat and have a good time.
We all know your dancing skills are incredible. We saw them on the sidelines after you beat the Chiefs. Were there any dancing going on at this party yesterday for Christmas?
Oh, there's always dancing in our family. I always had a few moves, even back in the Temple days.
Well, let's get back to your Temple days real quick. You were the coach in the 80s, and before we get to the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Rule, he takes over the new head coaching job for Steve Adazio. What have you been hearing about Matt Rule? Do you like the hire?
I'm hearing really good things, and I'm sure that he knows what Temple's all about, and it's a special place. And I think he'll do a fabulous job.
We're talking to Bruce Arians, the interim head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, the offensive coordinator as well. Chuck Pagano makes his return to the sidelines this week. What's been the feel in your facility at Indianapolis as Pagano walks back into the doors and takes things over again?
Well, it's just an unbelievable amount of energy and enthusiasm reignited into our football team to have Chuck back. And it was a very emotional day Monday. To have him back in the office healthy and ready to go for this big game against Houston.
I know when he was diagnosed, you were one of the first phone calls that he made. It was to you. Can you take me back to that phone call? What was said?
Well, it was business as usual. It was our open date. I was down at my house in Georgia and getting ready to head to the airport to fly back, and Chuck called, and it was normal small talk, and then he dropped a bomb on me and told me that the reason he wasn't in on Thursday, he went to the doctor and he's still in the hospital, and that he had leukemia. And I know what that phone call's like when you're told you have cancer. And my first thought was everything going to be all right? What's the doctor say? What's the plan of attack? And he had all that covered, and basically just said, hey, Mr. Richardson, I want you to take over until I can come back. And basically, that's what I did.
How was that news delivered to the players? How did they find out?
We had a team meeting the next morning, and they knew something was wrong because Mr. Irsay is not in team meetings. Neither are a bunch of doctors. And, Mr. Irsay made the announcement. Dr. Cripe got up and told the players what he had. Mr. Irsay turned it over to me and basically said, I was in charge, and we went from there.
Did you ever imagine that this team would be going to the playoffs entering Week 17 when you left that meeting that day? Did you ever think this team could have the success that they've been having this year after a year ago they only had 2 wins?
I knew we had talent, and we were very young. I think anytime you give professional athletes something to play for besides the paycheck, and they really, truly believe and bond about it, that anything's possible. And we just took a day-to-day, one play at a time, one day at a time mentality, and started adding up some wins.
We're talking to Bruce Arians, the interim head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, going back to his offensive coordinator duties this week as they get set for a big Week 17 matchup up against the Houston Texans. And Bruce, Andrew Luck, he's been a very special player for you guys this year, your rookie quarterback out of Stanford. Give me the strengths and weaknesses of your quarterback.
Well, he's extremely smart. He's extremely competitive. He's also very athletic. He has been hit way too many times here in the last month, so he's a little beat up. But, obviously he got the rookie record last weekend in Kansas City, most yards passed thrown by for a rookie. And we're very proud of that. The fact that he has got 9 or 10 come from behind victories now. That's the type of player, that's the type of grit that you want in a quarterback to lead you, and he has all those things.
I remember when you guys played New England, that didn't go so great for Luck. He threw a few interceptions, and there was a shot on the sidelines of you trying to control your quarterback as he was a bit pissed off with this play on the field. How do you control the emotions of a rookie player like that has such a level of competition in him?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and you love that passion, the passion that he brings to the game, and it's just, hey, settle down, just we're gonna keep slinging it. You know, we've dug ourselves a deep hole here, but at the same time, I was up here many years ago with another rookie quarterback, and he looked worse than you did at this point in time. So let's just go back out there. We may play these guys in another month or so and see what we can learn.
Does he remind you a lot of Ben Roethlisberger, the quarterback that you are alluding to? What kind of quarterback does Andrew Luck remind you of?
He is a combination of Peyton, who I was talking about, and Ben. He's as athletic and tough as Ben, and he's as cerebral as Peyton. And it's an unbelievable combination, that skill set that he brings.
It's really incredible when you look at the league this year and see how many rookie quarterbacks are playing well. You had a plethora of guys starting this year. Russell Wilson's going to the playoffs. RG3 has a chance to get to the playoffs if they beat Dallas. And your quarterback's been phenomenal. It really looks like a bright future for the NFL when it comes to these young quarterbacks. They're all looking great.
Yeah, the only concern I have is so many of these teams are starting to run the option. And how many of these guys are going to get broken up, because I just don't think you can have a steady diet of your quarterback running the football in the NFL unless he's as big as Cam or maybe Kaepernick. But even then, you're going to take so many hits on your throwing on him. Sooner or later, that thing's going to get bruised up and you're not going to be as accurate.
I remember when it was free agency this past year, everyone had Reggie Wayne going to Miami or following Peyton Manning out to Denver, and he stuck around with this team in the Indianapolis Colts, and we all know what he's been doing on the field. He's having an incredible season, but talk about Reggie Wayne, the leader, and what kind of leadership he presents to this football team.
Yeah, you really couldn't put a dollar value on what he has done for our rookie receiving corps and Andrew Luck. All the way back in the spring, Reggie's the consummate professional on and off the field. Great note taker in the meeting rooms. He would go around and look at the other receivers' notes and ask them why they weren't taking notes, or how to take notes, teach them how to take notes, how to study tape, what you're looking for when you're watching corners and safeties. Other than just learning your assignments, you got to learn how the game's being played and how it changes from week to week. And this has been an unbelievable leader. The really only true veteran we have offensively. And like I said, there's no monetary value you could put on what he has done for our team.
We're talking to Bruce Arians. And Bruce, big matchup going up against the Texans this week. You didn't fare too well against them 2 weeks ago. Are your starters planning to go for a full 60 minutes with that 5th seed already locked up?
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, we only know one way how to play. It's not in our DA not to play hard, and they're in our division, so we want to send them a message. They've never won in Indianapolis. That game was pretty close. It was a one-score game late in the fourth quarter in Houston, and they've never won here. We want to make sure they never do.
The 2 best pass rushers in the league this year have been in San Francisco, Aldon Smith, and also in Houston with J.J. Watt. What's your plan on J.J. Watt this week? Because he definitely knows how to get to the quarterback there, Coach.
Yeah, he's a high motor, very talented guy. When you put those two things together, you got your hands full trying to block him. We tried to double team him some last time. He made more plays in the running game than he did the passing game. We had a couple long runs set up, and he ran us down from behind. So they did a better job of handling. We did a little bit better job as coaches to scheme him a little bit better than we did last time.
And the most incredible part to me about his game is the way he's able to deflect the ball when the quarterback releases it. What would be your message to your offensive line this week to try to prevent him going up there and deflecting one of Andrew's passes?
Well, I'm more happy to see him up there jumping around trying to bat balls down. That means he didn't get to the quarterback and hit us. And he does a fantastic job. He has his first move, a counter move. If that doesn't work, then he's eyeballing the quarterback trying to get in the throwing lane. And it's rubbed off on all the rest of them, too. They do as good a job at that as anybody in the National Football League.
Your team has been incredible this year, and many people are saying that you should win Coach of the Year. Now, hypothetically, if you are to win that award, do you give that to Chuck Pagano or do you keep it? What happens if you win Coach of the Year come February?
I think I'll cross that bridge if it ever happens. But if they give it to me, I'll probably keep it.
You've done an incredible job, and many people think that, including me, that you should be a head coach next year in this league. When the season's all said and done, would you have interest being a head coach, or are you just fine being the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts?
But again, I think those things, when you can't control them, no sense worrying about them. But if somebody is interested in calls, we'll listen to see if it's right for me and my family. And I'm not just to run away to be a head coach. I'm not going to do that. I want to make sure they have a chance to win. And see what the situation is, what city it is in, and but definitely would listen, yes.
Coach, before we let you go, incredible season so far. Best of luck in Week 17 in the playoffs, and let's get you on again real soon. Thanks so much. I appreciate the time.
You bet, Zach, anytime.